Welcome to the first episode of Indieformed. I'm your host, Josh. This is a series that takes a look at some news and some games, some announcements, some updates of things you may not be aware of. So sit back, relax, or put me on in the background, grab a snack because there's going to be a lot of variety coming up. First, we're going to get into the news section of the video, and then we're going to move into some specific segments later. Something I'd like to not spend too long on, but I want to mention is the Madden NFL shooting. And if you don't know what happened, a competitor was knocked out, wasn't happy about it, came back into the venue and killed two current competitors. I just want to say my thoughts are with the families involved, and any of you who were involved or know someone that was involved, my thoughts are with you. It's a really, really bad thing to have happened. I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to spend too long on it, but I just want to address it because it is important that people are aware of this kind of stuff, and that it is a good discussion to bring forth that games don't make people like that. It's definitely deeper than that. So, in any case, my thoughts are with them. Now that's out of the way, let's move on to some more positive news. Discord is launching a curated games marketplace. Along with this, they'll have a First on Discord feature, which has games debut on their store before others, such as Bad North. One great feature is that Discord can scan your computer for games already installed so that it can add them to its library. They understand it can be frustrating having multiple launchers, so they're aiming to make a universal library tab. They don't launch the game, but they'll launch the launcher, which then launches your game. It sounds more complicated than it is, but I'm looking forward to this coming out. I know this isn't indie gaming, but I just had to include this. If you're into the competitive gaming scene, then Arena Esports is for you. I know the producer of this TV show personally, and I've never met anyone more passionate about the esports landscape. It's a weekly news and current affairs editorial based show that brings you all that is happening in the world of pro gaming. Arena Esports is the broadcast solution for esports exposure to an offline audience, taking aim at enthusiasts, both gamer and spectator. They broadcast to various sports and free-to-air channels in over 20 countries, with more broadcasters coming aboard each month. You can follow Arena Esports on Facebook and Twitter, and even go grab a free trial at sportnow.net to see a full show. And if you're a general sports fan, then I'm sure there's other content on the site which you'll find interesting too. From a fellow Australian, we have the Music Game Jam. Beginning on the 1st of September and finishing on the 15th, contestants have 2 weeks to create a music-based game. It was extremely successful last year, and the event organiser has asked if I'd like to cover the games produced this year. So hopefully I'll be able to squeeze in that video and create some extra content this month. Speaking of music though, if you're looking for a rhythm-based game right now, then there's TERRORHYTHM on Steam Early Access. Load up your favourite tracks and chill out while smacking some enemies. But on the flip side, if you want to keep creating games and don't know what jams are coming up, head over to the description. Itch.io has a calendar with all the game jams coming up and past, so you can organise which ones you'd like to be a part of. Now I just want to go through some updates on the UNIVERSIM and Green Hell, 2 games I featured in my early access video of August, just because I couldn't play them at the time. The UNIVERSIM is now out on early access and has had some changes from the alpha I showed. It's got a great narrator and is far more polished. It's cute and adorable, and if you want a management game, then go ahead and grab that. Green Hell is a good change of pace. It's a survival game that puts you through a story to get you to understand the basics, which then sets you up for the survival part. The voice acting is also really good. For an early access game, it's really good. There's some audio things and some animations that could be better, but that's the point of early access. Worth a look if you're into these types of games. Now here are some announcements that you may have missed this month. The final DLC for The Binding of Isaac will include the very popular Anti-Birth mod, which apparently has more than 4,000 new rooms, new enemies and bosses. I am in love with this series, and have purchased everything up to this point, so I'm looking forward to adding this expansion to cap off the series. But what's after The Binding of Isaac? Well, developers are working on a new title, Legend of Bumbo, which will have its own spin on the Isaac world. This past August, Nintendo announced some great titles upcoming for the Switch. These include, but aren't limited to, Nightcall, Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom, The Gardens Between, Streets of Rogue, Bad North, which is already available. From 11-bit studios we have Moonlighter, This War of Mine and Children of Mortar. We also got Everspace, Baba Is You, Slay the Spire, Windjammers and Windjammers 2, Terraria in 2019, Prison Architect and Morphe's Law. This only scratches the surface of the indie games coming to the Switch. More and more titles will be released on the platform, so it might be worth investing in at some point. On their 8th birthday, VLAMBEER decided to have a playable build of their next game at PAX West 2018. 3-ish years after their hit Nuclear Throne, and they're back with an unnamed title that is an inverted Space Invaders. Every enemy you destroy gets split into more enemies. This is an arcade game, so you will die at some point. This is just to see how high your score can get. This was completely unplanned as they woke up and decided to show the game. So there's plenty of work to go into this, but it's nice to see something from the studio since their last release of Nuclear Throne in December of 2015. They're not 100% sure that this title will even make it to full release, but they said with the response that they're getting from players that there is definitely an audience for it. So now here are some games that I came across that I don't really know where else to fit in the channel, so I'm putting them in here. Wildfire, a game we played at PAX in 2016 and covered back in 2015 when its Kickstarter was running. A stealth platformer that gives you the ability to control fire amongst other elements. Wildfire is planned to release this year, and from what I've played of it, this is going to be a memorable title. It's a game that is for speedrunners, people who like to take things slow, or just general pyromaniacs. Wildfire is super polished right now, and is also a difficult trip. With multiple ways to complete levels, and optional objectives to tick off, this game definitely does not hold your hand. One major gameplay design element to be aware of is there's no direct way to take down an enemy. This confused me at first, but I came to appreciate that sneaky bastards have designed this game without that action purposefully. It would be the easier way out for these levels, so without it there's a constant sense of danger. Another cool feature is that it can be played with a friend locally, making for some great tactical chat in the living room. It's up to you how you get through these levels, running around like a stampede of elephants or running through bushes like a mouse. Another cool feature is they've designed the controller support buttons to have a mode where you only need one hand to play, leaving the other hand for that tasty bowl of Doritos. I hope I have this right, but the music sounds medieval inspired and fits perfectly. The pixel graphics are 100% what this game is meant to be. I cannot imagine another art style for this project. One thing I really love is how this game makes you use the inaccuracies to its advantage. Now, don't assume I mean bad when I say that, but things like an enemy not being able to see you hanging from a ledge or off a cliff is what makes this great. It's not meant to replicate what an actual enemy would do, poke their head over, but instead actually be a game. And that's one thing that feels good about Wildfire. It feels like a game. It's got a good story and great animations, but at the helm, this is a game. There is so much attention to detail that I'm confident this is going to be a winner. It's coming together superbly and I cannot wait until it's released where I'll get into more depth about it. If you'd like to wishlist this on Steam, I have a link in the description. This is a game I was following throughout the month because I wasn't sure if it was going to release or not. Don't Play This Game.exe has a very interesting marketing technique. The Steam store page has a lot of interesting characters and words crossed out. The recommended requirements state that you need an internal Core iX and 64GB of RAM. Don't be alarmed, I'm sure you will run this fine on your machine. This is apparently an experimental, community-driven crypto experience. That's what the store page says, so if I knew what a crypto experience was, I'd tell you. It's akin to a first-person shooter merged with inconvenient mechanics, abnormal difficulty and playability, and detached from common design standards. I had a shot at the demo and it was definitely an experience. It doesn't have a hand that you can hold, so you're on your own from the get-go. You can try this for yourself from the Steam store page, and come to your own conclusions. So that's the news section out of the way, and now I'm moving on to a new segment. Kickstarter Planet will run through some projects on the platform that I think are worth your time and money. A 90s inspired combat fighter that actually could end up looking like it came from the 90s. Super Combat Fighter is an over-the-top, contact-packed amalgamation of every 2D fighting game from the 90s. Loud announcers, classic 2D gameplay, ridiculous mods, cheat codes and Easter eggs. There are not many games these days that promise cheat codes, so this game is already looking like a winner. It's got digitized photos of actors as fighters, and one thing that struck my mind was, what if you could digitize yourself? If the game gave you all the poses you needed to take the photos of, then people could put themselves and their friends into the game and battle it out. I know that that's not the game they're aiming for, but it's a good opportunity to increase replayability. If this has piqued your interest, go to the description and visit their Kickstarter project. Currently over 300% funded, KitFox Games are back with their new title, Boyfriend Dungeon. If the developer sounds familiar, you may know of Moon Hunters, which we covered on Indieformer and even backed ourselves. Boyfriend Dungeon is an action RPG where the weapons you use transform into beautiful people. Take them on dates to level them up and become stronger together. Each weapon has its own unique playstyle, from short bursts to electrifying your foes. They were featured in the Indie Mega Booth at PAX West and have won 2 awards already. I commend these guys on thinking outside the box and securing funding for what looks to be a 2019 classic. You can pledge $20 Canadian for a copy of the game now. Decide quick because it only has a few days left. An almost 300% funded project with 27 days to go, Micro Majors is already a finished game. This game was actually developed for the NES console, and the funds being raised are for cartridge, box and manual production. Not many Kickstarter projects are what you see is what you get, but you can back this project with confidence knowing it's exactly what you'll get. There will be a PC version in the form of a ROM. The developers are including instructions on how to get it up and running, so don't worry if it's your first. You can play with up to 4 players simultaneously in this platformer and compete to get the highest score. A fun throwback to NES platformers, this 40 kilobyte game looks like a lot of fun. And if you still have your NES, you now have a new game for it. And now we have the next segment to cap off the show, which will take use of that good pocket change you might have. Your 5 under 5 this month includes some classics and some titles that also released this month. Isometric goodness. Radiant One is a short and sweet story-driven game. You try to escape the boring life and social media with lucid dreaming. Beware it's point and click, but it's very chill. The soundtrack gives the right atmosphere and it's got a great art style.
Hello fellow human, I am Bill.
And I also am named Bill.
Do you yearn, like me Bill, to play basketball in the most regular possible way?
Of course I do, Bill. I long to climb
The guys
inside
behind
a
Crawl
gargantuan
released Regular Human Basketball in August, a great couch game for a group of friends. We tried the free version a while back and had a lot of fun with it. It can be played online and locally and is just an easy game to pick up and play to fill some time.
Triggering excitement in fellow humans.
For $1.99 you can't really complain. Death Fungeon is a puzzle platformer with both stealth and parkour elements. It's got some nice graphics, the sounds are a little basic but do their job. It's hard though, not a walk in the park. If you're looking for a cheap platformer with some difficulty, then I don't think you can go wrong with this title. Released back in 2010, this is as bare as platformers get and is as simple as they get. VVV received a 10 out of 10 from Destructoid and has overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam. It's got one simple mechanic at its core. Instead of jumping, you invert gravity and fall to the other side. It's got some difficulty, a great soundtrack, and is just simple. A classic indie game that sent YouTubers to their Let's Play chambers. Five Nights at Freddy's came with a bang and is a very solid series. The task is simple. Can you survive Five Nights at Freddy's? The graphics aren't amazing, but you're soon engrossed in what is your summer job at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Watch the security cameras carefully and make sure there's nothing going on. If you don't have much to spend, consider one of these games because they're all worth the $5 or under that they cost. But I do have one more addition though. I didn't know where else to put this because it's also cheap, so I'm just tacking it on the end here. For $6.99, a horror simulator about a supermarket cashier who is gradually losing her mind because of the mundanity of her work. A little bit Papers, Please inspired, this game is polished and has great sounds and atmosphere. It's worth a look. That's the main section of Indieformed over, so this last bit is some updates on Indieformer of what's coming up and what I've been working on in the background. As you can tell, there are new graphics across the board and we've gone 80s theme for that, so let me know what you think below. We're hoping to release one extra video this month at least with the Music Game Jam. I hope I get enough time to cover that, but I'm also in talks with an indie developer, a local indie developer, about a game that they've made, and anyway, it'll be interesting, I hope, and I'm looking to do that in the next couple of weeks. Kind of a setup like this with some behind the scenes stuff. So if you've got anything you'd like me to ask him, let me know, but I think I've got a pretty solid set of questions to get some discussion going. The top 3 indie games this month will focus on Ludum Dare 42 submissions, that'll be next week. Sorry if you're expecting anything else, but I think it's an important game jam to cover because a lot of really good indie games come out of it. Now for the social stuff, I'll be attending PAX Oz at the end of October, so if you're an Australian or you're coming from around the world, hello, I'll be there, come say hello. I'll be covering the indie games at the event and hopefully creating another video in the same style of the What is an Indie Game video. I'm really looking forward to that and creating something hopefully special like that again. I'm also on Instagram now. I know it's an odd platform for games, but I thought why not give it a shot. At the moment I do some notable games throughout the week, so I'm doing a post a day at the moment of something that you might have forgotten about or you might not be aware of. This past week I just did Monday to Friday 5 indie games that we featured in 2016, some of the best. Just a little description and the photo, just to, something to do. And I don't know what I'm going to do next week, so if you got a theme suggestion, let me know. Go follow me on there if you've got Instagram. I'm not sure how many of you guys do, but either way, just giving it a shot. If it doesn't really work, no harm done. I've also set up a Discord, so go over there and say hello. There's a link in the description. You can go discuss indie games there. You can go and give me suggestions. I hope it's something for you guys. It's I know there's other indie game Discord channels out there, but for the Indieformer community, now there's something that you can go to and constantly talk to me with. I'll be there, active every day, doing, well, I won't be doing stuff, but I'll be there if people got suggestions or whatever, so go over there and let me know. And the last thing I want to talk about, it's been on my mind for a while. I always want Indieformer to be around regardless of the platform that it's on. I don't want to have to rely on YouTube ad revenue to keep this thing going. I mean, I'm only earning like $6 a month at the moment, so that's obviously not enough to keep even Indieformer running. But I'd like to one day be able to employ people, and I want to be able to employ people because I know that people are really, really passionate about gaming. I don't want to do this for the money, but I want to be able to create another avenue for people to pursue a gaming career. because I think it's important and it's becoming a bigger part of culture. So I've been thinking about Patreon. I don't know if that's a good idea. I don't really have any Patreon specific content that I wouldn't know what to do. But at the moment, I need to be able to fund Indieformer somehow. At the moment, I'm just using my own money, and that's what I have been for the last 4 years or whatever. Me and Lawrence have just been putting a lot of our own stuff. We did make some money from a video, and that's last us still up until now. But I want to invest in new equipment, and it'd be nice to just start earning some revenue from this, just so I know that I can keep it going. But like I said, I'm not money hungry or anything like that, but I'd like to turn this into a full-time job if possible, and I want this to stay in the community. I don't want to get outside help now. I want this to stay community driven, community funded. So Patreon, I think, is the way to go. I'm not sure. Like I said, this is just me rambling and giving you guys what I'm thinking about at the moment. So let me know if you think it's something that's worth setting up or putting time into. I'm not sure. But yeah, like I said, I don't want to come off as this like money hungry guy. I know what Indieformer is, and I know that it's important to the community and a lot of you, and I want to keep it going for as long as I can. And like I said, in order for that to happen, it needs to generate revenue and money coming in. So anyway, I'm going on way too long. That's what I'm thinking about. Let me know below whether it's something that you'd be interested in participating in, or whether I should even consider. But that was the first monster episode of Indieformed. Hopefully I made you aware of a project you weren't aware of before, and that you now are updated on what Indieformer has coming up in the next month. If you've got any suggestions, let me know below. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time here on Indieformed.